This is Margaret in Windsor. I'm just going to pick up where I left off just now. The video won't hold this part of it, so I wanted to continue. I was kidnapped in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. Both twins, Peggy and Carl Dempsey, had been killed by their mother, Lina Dempsey. They were born out of wedlock, and this woman actually, when I had this Hustler magazine and was leased a car by Mr. Flint, I went by there, her home in Carlisle, Kentucky. And really, I'm afraid of these people, what they have done to me, and tried to shut it up because they were afraid. The book, I wrote a medical malpractice book, M.D.A. License to Kill, and as a result, I thought it was because of the book. And then later in 83, I found out about my kidnapping and who I really am. So it was both of them. I mean, so many people want me dead, it's unreal. The Illuminati or Freemasons kidnapped me, and Joe Kennedy was part of it. He was appointed ambassador to England, and he stayed from 36, which is when my grandfather died. So you have to wonder about his death, too, George V. This is my father, Edward VIII, illegally taken down. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, sister to the artist George O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin. This whole thing's a lie. This is a double that married Wallace Simpson, the American whore and spy. And by the way, she was born out of wedlock, and now that I see they're trying to change the records on that. This is my Uncle George, Elizabeth's father, who's the illegal George VI. Helped take down my father, helped kidnap me, his own niece. And they orchestrated my kidnapping and takedown. I'm Victoria II, heir to the British Crown. This woman's illegal. So now I want to go back to the fact that I wrote about mind control murders. Larry Flint was one of them that I was writing about. He was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, in March 6th of 78. I was living at Moonraker Apartments. It was owned then by Penthouse Magazine and then by Mormon Church. But it was the only plush apartments I lived in, and they were very nice. However, I had a hell of a time there. I was doing the book, and you can't imagine what was being done to me and my children, Mark and Scott, who are heirs after me. So now then, that's what I want to get to. Yesterday, I have been worked over all my life. I've put it up on YouTube as much as I could, and Facebook's been hacked, and on Instagram. Now then, I found out after I came up here in 86, because I got shut down after Larry Flint. I couldn't get through to him anymore. His power of attorney was taken, but he got it back. And he was locked up in Butner, North Carolina, federal prison, and tortured. While all these people on a daily basis have committed crimes against me and my children that are unspeakable, and to my country, and to the Germans, by the way, my family in Germany who tried to help me, and the Germans have tried to do what they could to help, and the British people, which there aren't a lot of us left. You got Australia, where there's a 51, Area 51, and remember they said there wasn't an Area 51 in the U.S.? They got one in Australia, and that's because of the illegal treaties that when my uncle and the Illuminati, Freemasons, Rockefellers, Rothschilds took over my government by illegally taking down my father and kidnapping me, and they joined with my uncle and part of the Windsors. And now then, the Rockefellers are in the Netherlands. They have an office there. That was, what they've done to me is so hideous if it's ever shown, and then to flaunt it in my face. They've got it was on my Facebook, which was odd. It was about where the Rockefellers have a fund in the Netherlands, which used to be the royal family, part of the royal. They're kin to me just like they are Elizabeth, but she's part, Queen Beatrix, who's now turned it over to her son, was part of the New World Order. So they joined ranks with the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and became part of the New World Order, which is in place now. But the Rockefellers had a fun thing there where women who had been abused and socially deprived, monetarily and all that, can't remember the exact wording. I thought, my God, you did all this to me and you dare go on my Facebook and print this? So, anyway, I wrote about mind control murders, and I came up here, and after the book I didn't get published, I had antifreeze put in. Men worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson. In the condition I was in, I was illegally taken across the state line, and you can't believe the many times they've tried to have me killed, not just the Dempseys, but the others in this mess. But I was just going to show this one because he's a psychiatrist, and he finished college at Blacksburg, Virginia Tech, and he went on and became a medical doctor and psychiatrist. Now, he's on death row for the shootings in the Fort Hood, and he's a victim of mind control himself. The person that shot him, just like, he shot, but they programmed him to shoot, just like the person was programmed to shoot Larry Flint, Governor George Wallace, and the cover-up by the NAACP and Martin Luther King's family. And yes, I can tell this if I live to, because you can't deny it. It all happened, and I couldn't make it up. It can be proven. They covered it up. The programming of people had been going on, modifying behavior, and for a long, long time. And MK Ultra was brought before Congress in '53 and then turned loose. And now then the agency that's using it, I've put it on here. They did it. The murders I talk about were done in patterns, and they can be proven. So this is what, in my trying to live and trying to get the law to work for me, and going through holy hell, I really have, going to the media, which knew about my kidnapping long before I found out in '83 when I was in that political campaign. So I've been denied attorney. I've been denied the fact to breathe air, really. Everybody knows about it. Nobody will touch it other than to hurt me, and that's the absolute truth, because the high-up government, I'll go ahead and say it, the FBI, but they're not really the bad ones in all this. But they investigate, and they can turn it over to be prosecuted. They're the ones that responded to the book. But I realize now, I had a letter from Jack Hartsfield that I put on here. He's FBI and a reporter that said that they had a secret police working in Huntsville, Alabama in '41. That's when I was kidnapped and brought there. Huntsville, and NASA began, and it was a booming town. That's where Mark Kelly and Scott Kelly, the twins, they're astronauts, and Scott Kelly's up in orbit now, up on the in the space lab. Mark Kelly married Gabby Gifford, and she was a congresswoman, Tucson, Arizona, and that's where one of the mass shootings that was done in patterns were committed. And that's where I've told you that I was given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey, when they kidnapped me and brought me to Moulton, Alabama. So there's the twins, the Mark and Scott Kelly, and the Congresswoman Gabby Gifford. I ran for Congress but didn't get it. But if you get the names that died in that, and just like the Aurora, Colorado, James Holmes was programmed. He's not mentally ill. He's a victim of mind control, as much a victim as anybody. So the connection back to Mark Kelly and Scott Kelly twins and the shootings out there also is my sons, who are heirs to the crown, are Mark and Scott. And I don't have any idea where they are. I just pray and hope that they're alive. So I wanted to get into before this goes off, and I'm not going to, and I doubt that anybody's even listening